MP for East Rural St. Andrew, Juliet Holness, joins us. Good evening, Good afternoon, rather, Mrs. Holness. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to hear your response to approximately 22 persons preemptively relocating to shelters ahead of the passage of Tropical Storm Elsa. That should be encouraging to you, isn't it?
Absolutely encouraging. I didn't even know they were there. I had my counselor in the area check on St. Benedict, which is where we had the issue the last time due to Shooter's Hill. It was empty. And thankfully, she decided to make her way around to Cane River, which would normally not have had such a situation, but the Councillor Clark from Kintyre is actually the key councillor for that area, and lo and behold, she found 20-odd persons there. They were there from the day before, so I took food and sanitation and toiletries to them, and then they explained to me, look, we have decided from the rain started falling, we know what we normally experience, we packed up and we left and made sure that we went into shelters. And I'd like to congratulate them for being preemptive and encourage other persons that life comes before property every time.
And what's the latest on the ground in terms of those communities out in Bull Bay that are usually affected by the heavy rains? What's the latest there?
Preemptively again, I toured with the Mayor of Kingston. We went around looking at the key drains that were flooded because of the pond levels, and just generally drains that are usually blocked material coming down from the hillside, and they were cleared all the way out to sea. Wezo that checked on it as well during the rain and after the rain, where we had the river breaking its back before, it held, it was fine. So right across the Bull Bay stretch, persons were okay. I was hearing my fellow Member of Parliament, James Robertson, online. The one area we had an issue is on the border with St. Thomas, a small fording there, where debris was built up. So I told the residents, I'm grateful you went out, but it is dangerous. It is, I understand you're trying to save your home, not wanting it to flood out, so you see the debris and you rush out and try to clear it, but it is actually not safe and not something that they should be encouraged to do. I have since touched base with National Works Agency and the KCMC. I've explained to them to talk to the municipality for St. Thomas as well. But the bridge needs the debris to be moved from under it, because if we have another shower of rain, those persons are going to flood out.
We're up on a break. MP Robertson, MP Holness, please stay with us. Listeners, when we come back, we'll have more for you.
I'm encouraging every single representative to appreciate that our utterances must be in keeping with what is best for life. People will always want to hold on to prized possession. You have people who run back into a fire because they need to take up some things that are valuable. And people who don't leave the house even when it is being flooded. We have to encourage persons that if practically the government decides, having done all the assessment, that it is not safe for you to stay there based on changes in climatic conditions, that you should heed the warning and caution. I'm very concerned about the Reid Road residents. It's going to be difficult. I think persons would only appreciate, God forbid, if we lost a life, then they would understand why it is necessary, if you're instructed, do not build somewhere, do not stay in a particular state, that it is important to listen.
That's Juliet Holness, the Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, and that area of Bull Bay, including Louise Road. She's with us, as well as MP for West St. Thomas, James Robertson. MP Holness?
Yes, Cliff?
You heard we replay that clip from you because I wanted to probe you on that. Yes? Yes. In terms of the residents' attitude, is it that they are not budging because of what they're being told by their political leaders, representatives?
For some of the individuals along that roadway, when I speak to them, they're very, very aggressive. One, they are there for over 50 years. Their children have gone, they're not going. That's one lady. As a matter of fact, many of them presume to be engineers who will tell you what needs to be done in order for them to continue to live there. I have, in fact, though, found individuals who have said, look, Ms. H, let us go to look at Albion if that's where we're going to go. And I've said it is still early days because I know the assessment is now to go to cabinet, and we have to wait until we hear from the minister as it relates to relocation, housing solution, or if it will be possible to do mitigation work to fix the berm and continuously maintain the riverbed in a way they can live there. So they would have to wait. But many of them have indicated that their political representative of choice have told them to stay. And I have been firm saying to them, look, even if you want to come back and vote against me, I have no problem with that. You can stay and vote anywhere you want. As long as you're alive to do it, then I'm happy.
Oh, so these people have allegiance to the People's National Party?
Predominantly.
Oh.
So they're in danger, and the political representative told them not to leave.
That's what they're arguing. You know, that they have been discouraged from, and I don't think...
Are you sure you heard correctly?
Correctly. Leaving in the long term, you know, I don't know that they would be discouraged from leaving in the middle of a hurricane or, you know, a storm. But long term, they do not want to be relocated. They have been advised that the solution is that all you have to do is maintain. And I spent a lot of time yesterday evening sitting with some of them and explaining, guys, 40, 50 years ago, the weather is not as it is now. The volume of water coming down from the mountains and the volume of silt coming down is not as it is now. So we can't sit down and say, well, when we were living here 60 years ago, that was our experience. Your experience is going to change. And you have to have the confidence and trust in the authorities. If they do a detailed assessment and analysis of what is happening in terms of both climate and the infrastructure of the space and the terrain, that you are open to listening. I was very grateful. One lady said, when the time comes, just show us where, and so we know if we'll be comfortable there. And I think that should be the approach for everyone. Have an open mind and be ready to do what is best for you in terms of your life.
I have a question about relocation, but let me just get to the issue at hand first. Is it that we have the experts going in and speaking to them, perhaps the message from the experts, and even though you're MP for the area, some people may take the message colored, yes? Have we attempted to have the message delivered by the experts who are saying, look, there is a need to relocate from this location? Has that been done?
That's the next step. I believe that's the next step, because when the persons came in from the climate change segment to do their assessment, I don't know if they've gotten any grant funding as well for it. They said they had some funding to come. They actually started to have a discussion with us on the ground. So I'm literally, the media keeps asking where we're going. I guess they really want to see us moving faster, but we are not there yet. We are at a place where the assessment is complete. We would now be waiting on the ministry to come back along with the technical person for us to do community meeting and sensitization. And I said as much to them. Guys, we come, we tell you exactly what the findings are. You listen, we hear you out, because you may have suggestions, you may want to try this or try that. We will go to that stage next.
Well, go ahead. Yes, just one more. And in terms of where they will be relocated to, the potential space, is that within East Rural?
No, we are struggling to find potential building spaces in East Rural that are cost effective. So I know that the government has some lots of land in Albion over by my colleague MP Robertson. I'm not sure how many units, and they're looking at that as a possibility for relocation. We have another area that goes across the Cane River. It goes over New Haven and back down into Cane River. You could enter from Cane River, but it will be far more expensive because it's hilly terrain, totally unpopulated now. So infrastructure-wise and just the terrain to be able to work up there, I think it would be probably prohibitive in terms of cost.
How many voters are we talking about here?
To be honest, I've not checked. It has been the least of my concern because I know persons when they move, if they're so, even though it's not correct, they so feel they come back. They come back and vote when they want it. So I really don't think about the vote.
Well, lest I be misunderstood, I deliberately said voters. Yes, because that is the reality for politicians. You count votes, and you see these things as votes. Especially in a competitive constituency such as East Rural.
No, it's not this one, and I believe I am not alone. Many persons are of the view that what comes first are people and not votes. And I think as a member of parliament, that attitude in me as an individual has made it possible for more persons to be happy to go out and support you. So we can't think in that way. I mean, a lot of persons who are on the other side now vote and support me, and it is based on the leadership that they have received. So as I said, you can go to Albion. I'm not telling you to move your vote, but I would want you to go when the government decides somewhere that is safe, so that we are not constantly in fear of our lives living on the riverbank.
Did the residents say which political affiliated person told them not to leave? Did the residents highlight that person?
I think you can actually go back to a news clipping from TVC.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The opposition leader, Mark Golding, I recall in a tour with Dr. Dayton Campbell, made that very clear of that area some time ago. Mr. Robertson, you wanted to come in?
Yes. Good afternoon, Juliet. How are you?
How are you?
Great. This matter goes back to 2008. Albion, West St. Thomas, as Member of Parliament in 2008, 2009, we welcomed whoever was under threat. And up to this afternoon, I was in that area in Albion. I drove every single road. And I'm proud to say that the government has kept its word. The sidewalks are going in, the road is marked, and a lot of development is going on in there. And the residents, for the most part, are very, very comfortable. And we have worked with them. Within St. Thomas West, there was a pushback. And about people coming in. We stood up to it. I stood up to it as Member of Parliament. And I can tell you, we are one Jamaica. We take everybody on board. And we're not watching votes, we're watching life.
Absolutely, and I would like to mirror that because the set of persons from East Rural that came before were strongly jailed police supporters from the Kintyre division. They're also on the riverbank down at Kintyre and had to be relocated. And I visited them in Albion since just to make sure everybody's okay. They were very happily relocated and doing very well. So I don't think they would have an issue. They have a good area, good representation.
Mm-hmm. Well, on my WhatsApp message, Mrs. Holness, is one for you, one of your constituents. Ask her about Caribbean Terrace. Why are the residents still suffering from the squatters? It's gotten worse. They soon ask us to leave.
Many of the persons would have been asked to leave Caribbean Terrace Cliff. It is a challenging situation and really is in need of an entire discussion as it relates to Caribbean Terrace again. So some housing has been put in place for persons who were dislocated at Caribbean Terrace. The homes to be were demolished. However, it is very difficult for persons who own their homes. It's not declared, a home that is in a disaster state and needs to be taken over by the government and demolished. And they have their tenants, they leave them up, and everybody and anybody comes there to live. So I am in fact concerned. I believe we would have to look at how do we go about either demolishing more of those homes, or if the community wants to look at the possibility of gating. But we would need to sit down and take a further look at that, because it's very hard to do work with people's private property that they have rented out to persons that we don't think we should live beside.
Well, Thank you very much,
Thank you.
MPs Holness and Robertson.
Thank you both.
East Rural, St. Andrew, and West St. Thomas. Thank you very much for sharing with us. A lot of work to be done in terms of what has to be part of the planning going forward, because we can't continue to have a situation where Jamaican citizens, live in peril. Whenever the rain set up, we start to worry. We can tick off the areas.
And I'm still grappling with residents being told.
Yes, man, there was a clip with Mark Golding shortly after.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it.
Yes, I remember it very clearly. It was one of his first comments.
It's something we need to interrogate. We need to interrogate Mark Golding on that, because that, to me, if those words came from him, and it goes against what the experts are saying, that is unacceptable, and it's something we should interrogate him on.
All right, that's a cover story.